Good morning, buenos dias, y guten morgen from across the country and around the world. Sound the alarm. It's time for your Wednesday wake-up call. I'm Matt Robinson.
And I'm Woody Walden, and this is your
Hump Day Update, where we are passionate about showing you and you and you and you how to run that smart real estate business, which stands for
stress-free,
money and credit-free,
asset-free,
risk-free,
and tax-free investing strategies that work right now in this market.
That's right. Now, Woody, most people out there who watch our show know that we are, of course, dedicated advocates for all of the hardworking real estate folks out there. Realtors, mortgage professionals, and, of course, creative real estate investors.
That's right.
And in our pursuit to give, the news behind the news, we oftentimes have to fight against the real estate headlines and shed some light on what's really going on behind all the psychobabble, political spin, and over-embellished mass media headlines.
True that.
But you know what's nice sometimes to see every once in a while?
Tell me.
Well, it's when, someone in the news media or the blogosphere actually does our work for us and just accurately analyze the data that's right in front of them. And so today we salute you, Mr. Tell It Like It Is news media person.
Real men of genius.
Real men of genius. And this week's Tell It Like It Is news media person is Steve Bergsman of Inman News.
In an article released last week, Mr. Bergsman highlighted the fact that rehab property sells at lightning-fast speeds as compared to its non-rehab counterparts.
Right.
Now, while this may not come as a mind-numbing shock to those of you who are realtors and or investors, it sure is nice to have some hard statistics to back it up.
That's right. And in Mr. Bergman's article, he cites the research of Field Asset Services, Inc., a Texas-based REO asset management company that spent the last few years surveying foreclosed and REO properties, comparing the number of days on market for remodeled properties versus those that were left as is.
The research revealed that in the first 2 years of the study, rehab properties spent 54.6% fewer days on the market.
Wow, that's less than half the time. And even better yet, in its most recent study, published at the beginning of this year, results showed an astounding 68% reduction in days on market for homes that had been rehabbed.
So let's give this just a little bit of perspective. The national average days on market for a traditional non-distressed sale is currently 258 days, or 8.5 months, as reported by the National Association of Realtors. The average days on market for an unrehabbed REO property is slightly less than that at 222.8 days, otherwise known as 7 months.
Now, this reduction in days on market is most likely attributed to the fact that many borrowers are now seeking out REOs to get a bargain because, they tend to be priced more aggressively, and because there's also, of course, more cash buyers on REOs that allow them to close more quickly.
That's right. But get a load of this staggering statistic. The average days on market for a rehabbed REO property, just 69.8 days. That's barely over 2 months.
So, that's such a great stat. So the question we have to ask ourselves is the market really that bad? Or are home buyers just not all that excited about buying a trashed out house with holes in the sheetrock, all of the appliances stripped out, and screw you, Bank of America, spray painted on the living room wall?
That's a great point. But that leads us to an even more important point, and that's the critical role that will be played by creative and savvy real estate investors in helping turn this market around and get our country back on the road to recovery.
Now, why is it so critical? Well, because even with this convincing data we just shared, banks have already started to pull back on the number of homes that they are willing to rehab, leaving only one major group to fill the renovation void left by the retreating financial institutions and keep the recovery rolling. And that's real estate investors like you and me.
The U.S. government and news media have had a field day with investors over the past few years, pegging speculators and house flippers as the primary culprits in creating the real estate bubble. Now, while it may be true that some of the uneducated real estate gamblers out there help to artificially drive up prices with their speculation, but the government has to be careful not to alienate the true blue, honest, hardworking investors out there, because they're most likely the folks that are going to help soak up the shadow inventory and get us back on our feet.
Very well said, Woody. And though the government might need to use investors as one of their public scapegoats or whipping boys to prevent them from actually accepting responsibility for their pathetic excuse for oversight and leadership, privately, they undoubtedly recognize the importance of real estate investors in today's economy.
And this was never more evident back at the beginning of 2010 when FHA suspended its anti-flipping rule and 90-day seasoning requirements, allowing for the immediate resale of property at profit margins of 20% without any additional review, and even more with proof of repairs and improvements.
Now, this waiver was originally intended to last just a year, but FHA extended its waiver of the anti-flipping rule again at the beginning of 2011.
Go figure.
Now, Woody and I discussed the rule in more detail in a recent Humpday Update episode, which you can watch by clicking right here.
That's cute. Well, that's all for this week's episode of Humpday Update. We would love to hear your comments about today's show. Do you agree, disagree, or do you think we're just both incredibly handsome? We'd love to hear about it. So go ahead, comment, rate, and like down below.
That's right, and as always, a special thanks to our new YouTube subscribers, Shirley in Woodstock,
What's
Georgia.
up, Shirley?
Hey, Shirley? And Mike the Revolutionary.
Whoa.
If you haven't subscribed to the show already, you can do so by clicking on that green box right there.
And after you get subscribed, forward this video to all your friends.
That's right.
And more importantly, post it to your Facebook.
That is very important. We love Facebook around here. Or you could embed it right in your own blog by clicking share down there, then click embed, and then copy and paste the code. It's very, very easy, and we shall be forever grateful.
And remember, new episodes every Wednesday at HumpdayUpdate.com, or get it sent directly to your cell phone, as always, by texting the word Humpday to the number 90210.
And from all of us here at the Humpday Update, we hope you have a productive and prosperous end of your week, and remember,
Finish strong!